Okay, can you tell us your name and your role in developing Call of Duty?
My name's Grant Collier, and I'm the president of Infinity Ward. I oversee the company, and I'm the liaison to the publisher. So I also make sure that all of the developers that work at the company have everything that they need to do their job.
Call of Duty is set in World War II. Why do you believe that World War II appeals to so many gamers?
Well, World War II is one of the defining moments in the history of almost every country in the world. Because of World War II, we have the boundaries that we have right now. If the Allies had lost World War II, I think that the world would be a much darker place right now. So it impacts the lives of everyone. I mean, the people who died to win that war made it so that we have, the free world today.
How will Call of Duty differ from other World War II set first-person shooters?
Call of Duty has a level of intensity that has not been seen in any other first-person shooter, let alone any World War II first-person shooter. You will be immersed in the war. You're not just fighting, shooting at a couple of guys jumping out. I mean, there's mortars going off, there's airplanes strafing your position, your squad mates join you, they die, the enemy falls back to defensive positions, they'll throw grenades back at you that you've hurled at them. Just a real rich, full World War II experience that has not been done before.
Players will play British, US and Russian-focused campaigns. Are the story elements from the grunt soldier perspective or from the officers?
It's from the perspective of the man in the trenches, the common soldier. You are a private in the American paratroopers. You are a sergeant in the British Special Forces, the SAS, and a lowly Russian conscript fighting for Stalin.
How does this campaign structure enhance the playing experience?
Well, we spent a lot of time trying to give the player a distinct gameplay experience in each of the three campaigns. In the American campaign, you are well equipped, heavily armed, with a large squad attacking an entrenched enemy. In the British campaigns, it's more of insertion and stealth, going behind enemy lines with smaller squads, still well equipped, but relying on superior intel and superior tactics. The Russian missions, you are straight off of the Trans-Siberian Railroad, out of a cattle car, put on a boat and forced into Stalingrad at the beginning of the game. You're told by the commissars that if you retreat, you will die, and you're just a body as far as they're concerned. Most missions, you don't even have a weapon.
As for missions, are we looking at a combination of both squad-based and solo missions?
Yeah, for the most part in the American missions, actually all the American missions, you have a squad with you. Some of the British missions, you are inserted by yourself. Eventually you will catch up with other squad mates. In the Russian missions, you are almost exclusively in large waves of people.
Can you give us an idea of what sort of missions we face in Call of Duty?
Yeah. There are, seek and destroy missions. There's rescue missions. There is vehicle rides. There are missions where you drive tanks. Holding out against, waves of enemies until reinforcements arrive. A battle against time. So a real wide variety of missions.
Are the missions based on actual events during World War II or fictitious battles to capture the soldiers' experience?
It's a mixture of both. There are times where you'll have a mission that is heavily based on historical facts. There's a lot of, in reality, doesn't really make a fun game. So there's lots that they're loosely based on historical facts. It'll be accurate, we have a mission called Pavlov's House, which actually spanned 6 months. Germans and Russians retaking this house and fighting over it, and we condensed it into one mission. So about a couple hour experience.
Will the players be able to operate vehicles like tanks and planes and other vehicles? Can you tell us what vehicles we will be able to control and why you thought it was necessary to include vehicles?
Well, you get to be a passenger in several vehicles, trucks, cars. You also are allowed to drive a tank firing its main gun, and you are with a platoon of tanks in 2 missions. And we really feel that the player is very interested in vehicle-type missions. It's just a natural evolution for the first-person shooter, and an experience that really allows the player to have a new flavor in the first-person shooter.
How have you accomplished the atmosphere of the wartime experience?
Well, we've actually spent a lot of time on making sure that the battlefield is a rich environment. Throughout the game, you will see mortars going off, you will see Stuka bombers strafing your position. As you battle through buildings, you can look out windows and you will see the battlefield raging, even though you're not involved in it. You will see gunfights going between squads. Through other windows, you could see people firing at your position. When you come to an edge of a map, it won't just be, just like a piece of barbed wire. You'll see like burnt vehicles. You might take machine gun fire. You will see paratroopers coming down out of the sky to reinforce you. Planes that were dropping the paratroopers off catch on fire, burn, and crash. In your vicinity. Just a real well-rounded battlefield experience.
How have you accomplished AI in Call of Duty for both your squad and also enemies?
Well, we've spent a lot of time on the AI. In previous titles, we did a lot of the squad interaction with scripts, and for the level of intensity that we wanted in Call of Duty, we've actually done away with a lot of the scripts, and we have just a real rich AI system. The friendlies and enemies act to the same level of competency. Both don't want to be shot, so they understand suppressing fire. They'll hide behind cover. They can identify a hard point that has a machine gun mounted at it, and that is a much more desirable place to be at than just behind cover. So as long as there's enemies in front of you, they'll be drawn to that. They'll start firing. You can go up and tell them, hey buddy, I'd like to be manning that machine gun. Tap him, take over, start firing. If you decide that you want to advance and let him suppress the enemy, he'll take it over, he'll keep firing, and then you can sneak around the flank. So a real in-depth and full AI for this title.
What level of detail can we expect with the main characters in the campaigns? We've read soldiers will limp and stumble when shot. Will this be visually represented to the player?
Yeah, well, we have a per pixel damage location system in the game, and what that means is being shot anywhere in the body will trigger a different kind of animation. If you're shot in the arm, you'll see the AI will recoil at that hit. If you are killed by being shot in the head, their helmet might fly off, they'll dive backwards. Definite visual reaction to the type of damage that the character takes. Plus, taking less damage being hit in the arms, less damage to the legs, more in the head. And you will limp. You will see squad mates that have been mauled, and they'll have a hard time keeping up with the rest of the squad.
What will the multiplayer action be like in terms of the details of gameplays and such?
Well, we're not actually releasing too many details at this moment, but multiplayer will ship with the game. It's been working for many, many months now. We play against the Activision office almost daily, testing and tuning. There will be multiple modes, the basics that you would expect in any first-person shooter. Deathmatch, team deathmatch, we have objective modes, lots of stuff.
Where in terms of development is the title right now?
We've been working on it for 15 months now, and we're going to be shipping in November. So we have completed all of the features and assets. We're at beta, so nothing new is going in. It's just tuning gameplay and fixing bugs at this moment.
On behalf of GameBiz, thank you very much for the interview. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I guess like to say that I think it's a real fortune to be working with such a talented group of guys, very dedicated, hardworking. You really never have to tell them that we're working late this weekend. They're there, working long before I would ever even make it in on a Saturday, and working, very late into the night. So just a lot of pride in what they do, and it's just great working with them.
Okay, thanks very much. That's it.